Hi, this is Carl with another SOP video for managed service providers. Last time we talked about removing a client from managed services. Now we want to talk about how do you remove a client from cloud services. The focus here is going to be a little bit different because, I guess in some sense, everything that applies to managed services applies to cloud services. But there's a different strategy when you move somebody off of your contracts for cloud services because they have no choice but to have their stuff somewhere. What do I mean by that? Well, they're going to have a domain. It's going to be at some registrar. They're going to have DNS for that domain. They're going to have email housed somewhere. They're going to have spam filtering for the email. They're going to have storage, whether it's in-house or not. Either way, they're going to have backup. That backup's probably going to be in the cloud. Their storage in the 21st century is probably going to be in the cloud. Right? So they got all this stuff that amounts to a lot of services, not to mention things that they buy from the outside world like Salesforce.com or QuickBooks Online. All of that stuff in the world of the cloud is out there somewhere, whether it's at Azure, Amazon, right, wherever. So how do you manage to offboard a client appropriately? In my opinion, and I've got a long checklist in cloud services in a month, you need to do this in a way so that you actually retain as much goodwill and as much revenue as possible. Start with a long list of all their services that you provide. So what do you want me to unplug? You want me to unplug the phones? Check that box. You want me to unplug your email? Check that box. You don't want spam filtering? Check that box. You don't want antivirus? Check that box. You don't want monitoring, patch management, right? Check all the stuff that you don't want anymore. And what you'll find is that some people will say, oh, I didn't realize what we were paying you for, which is your fault. So, no, I got to have email and I got to have, I guess I have to have a domain name. I don't even know what that is, but I got to have it, right? So what happens is that very often clients will say, well, we moved our hosting for the website somewhere else. That's cool. Now we want to move our email to either, say, Office 365 Direct, since Microsoft competes with you directly, or to another IT service provider. Okay, we can do that, but you need to know that that means 100% of everything we do for you from now on is billable at our, super low rate for people who are not subscribers of $200 an hour. So that's cool. It's your choice. This is, you can do whatever you want. And then you go through the list. And here's what you're going to find out. If a client's been with you a long time and they love you, and they probably do, if they're just trying to save money, they will say, well, we want you to continue to manage the registration of the domain. We want you to continue to manage the DNS. We might continue to have you do this, that, and the other thing. And this is no exaggeration. As I'm making this video, yesterday I had some emails with a client who has been not my client since I sold my first company in 2011. Now, I get a check every month because she pays her phone bill. I send her an invoice every year to refresh managing her DNS and domain registration. So this email was about making some changes from DNS because she's moving from one IT service provider to a different IT service provider, neither of which is me, but I'm going to send her an invoice for an hour's labor for making that change. And every time this happens, the people who are emailing me and trying to help out will say, so if you want, we can take this over. And I always write back and say, well, whatever she wants to do, I'm 100% on board with that. I got no ego in this. If you want to turn over domain registration and DNS to somebody else, you're welcome to do that. And she always says, well, why don't we keep it with you for now, and then we'll see how things go. And then a year or two down the road, she switches to another MSP, but I get to invoice her a little bit. Now, this is not a major source of revenue. Don't get me wrong. But the point is Many clients want to save money, and so they think they're saving money, but they trust you more than they trust some stranger, especially a stranger that, they turn over every 2 or 3 years. So you can retain a certain low level of continuous revenue essentially for the rest of your life. I have mentioned this in the book, but I'll mention it again. I maintain the domain registration, DNS, and even many of the phone systems for almost every client I've ever had. For some of them, I house their websites, probably a couple dozen. Again, not huge amounts of money, but a nice little trickle that lasts forever. And at the end of the day, I always have a relationship with them. If I started up another MSP tomorrow, I'd easily have 20 clients who would sign with me today because they've never not had a relationship with me in the last 20 years. So think about it, work it into your system, make sure that you've got a good offboarding checklist process so that you can actually retain some revenue in some of those relationships for as long as possible. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palachuk wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when we post a new video.